Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. And today I'm going to make a card with you that is going to be kind of like this one. I know I usually have a sample of the card I'm going to make ready to show you what it's going to look like, but I don't have one ready for you this time. This is a card that I made, excuse me, a while back ago when this stamp set, which is called You've Got This, first came out in the annual catalog. And this is the stamp set right here. It's a 2-package stamp. And this package just has the background stamp to it. And this one here has a beautiful flower and 3 sentiments. One that says, I'm here for you. One said, good things are going to happen. And one says, you've got this. This stamp set is retiring. It is available, guaranteed available through May 25th. And then after that, it's while supplies last. So this is a great set. And if you want it, you need to hurry up and get that. So, the one that I'm making today, like I said, it's going to be basically like this. I'm changing up the colors, and I am going to use the sentiment that says, you've got this. I'm making this card for a woman that I know who is getting ready to undergo some chemo treatments. And I had lunch with her this weekend, and as I said goodbye to her, what I said to her was, you've got this. So I think that that's the perfect sentiment for her card. And I'm going to change the colors up a little bit. So I'm going to put that right here. What I have for supplies is my base here, thick whisper white, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of powder pink, which is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have another piece of whisper white, which is cut at 3 3/4 by 5. So the first thing I'm going to do is make my background. And I'm going to use the background stamp here. And I'm going to use Blushing Bride. This Blushing Bride is a tiny bit darker than the powder pink, but I like the contrast. So that's all stamped up. And I'm going to kind of move it a little up towards the upper right corner, because I do want to have some space to put my die cut sentiment in the corner there. So what I'm going to do is stamp this, like I said, kind of into that corner, but not right into it. Okay, and I'm going to press that. It's a big stamp, so you want to make sure you've pressed nicely and lift. And there is my background. So I'm going to emboss on this, so I want to make sure that this ink is completely dry before I do that. So although the inks dry very quickly, I'm going to be on the safe side, and I'm just going to run my heat tool over it just to make sure that it is nice and dry. Now I'm going to emboss this, and I want to emboss it in Blushing Bride. Now, if you know, when you emboss, you do need to have a pigment ink, and then you apply your embossing powder. You either have a clear pigment ink like Versamark and you sprinkle a colored embossing powder, or you have, excuse me, a colored pigment ink and then you sprinkle clear embossing powder. I don't have a Blushing Bride embossing powder, and I don't have Blushing Bride pigment ink because the inks don't come in pigment. So I can still emboss this. However, I'm going to bring in the brand new Stamparatus, which is a great tool to be able to emboss in so many different colors. And I did do a video on using this to emboss in different colors. So I would suggest, if you want to get some more ideas on how to emboss using all of your colors, you go back and watch that video. So I'm going to take this flower and I'm going to position it where I want it on my card, and I'm going to bring my plate over and press. Now I need to emboss this, stamp this in my colored ink. So I'm going to use my Blushing Bride and ink that up nicely. And I'm going to press that down. Now, if I didn't have this Stamparatus and I wanted this to come out in Blushing Bride, I would have to and I didn't have blushing bride powder, I would have to throw some clear embossing powder on this real quick and heat emboss it real quick, and a lot of times that doesn't work or you don't get the right finish. So because I have the Stamparatus, I don't have to jump through hoops to get this to be embossed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my chamois and I'm going to wipe the blushing bride off of this stamp. Now I'm going to come in with my Versamark, which is what you need when you're embossing. I'm going to ink that up nicely. And I'm going to just come right back down. And I know that my Versamark is going to be exactly on the same stamped image of my blushing bride. So now that I have Versamark on there, I'm going to just take this out of here. I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper, and my Versamark is wet, so it's going to accept my clear embossing powder. But when I heat emboss this, because I had that layer of blushing bride underneath, that's the color that's going to come through. Okay? That sound a little confusing? Let me just grab my heat tool and we'll see that this is going to come out a beautiful blushing bride. It's going to take just a minute to heat up, and here it comes. And I hope you can see this on camera. It's a beautiful, beautiful embossed sheen to it, and it is a perfect shade of blushing bride. Everything is nice and heat embossed. I'm going to put that aside. And now I'm going to do the same thing with my sentiment, because I want to emboss my sentiment as well. So I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap Whisper White. And I know I'm going to explain to you why I'm using this pad. Now, when you get the Stamparatus, all the instructions tell you that when you're using a red rubber stamp, you don't need the pad. You only need the pad if you're using photopolymer. However, I like the pad. I feel like I get a better image with it, so I use it all the time. So I'm going to lay my stamp right there, press down, and I'm going to come in with my blushing bride. I'm going to ink that up. And press. I'm going to clean my stamp. I'm going to come in with my Versamark and have that perfectly lined up. And now I'm going to heat emboss this. I'm going to bring my scrap paper back in, sprinkle my clear embossing powder, and heat that up. And again, it's coming out as a beautiful shade of blushing bride. I hope you can see how nice this embossing comes out. It's such a delicate pink. Okay, so the last thing I have to do is do my die cutting. I'm going to die cut my sentiment out using a circle, and then I'm going to bring in that matting piece that I have that's blushing bride, and I'm going to die cut out this scalloped edge, and I'm going to make the mat for this. And the reason I'm going to use it put it on this piece of paper is you're not going to see this anyway because it's going to be behind my card front. I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with all of my pieces, and now I'm going to bring in my card base, excuse me, my card front. I'm going to put a little bit of snail along all 4 of the edges, and then I'm going to center that on my matte piece here, and you're never going to know that I cut out that scallop. So this is going to go on this right here, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to attach this here, make a nice mat for it, and this is going to go right here. Now because I have pink on pink, I think I'm going to just run a little bit of ink over that. I'm going to bring out my sponge dauber. Settles, there we go, Blushing Bride. Should actually use powder pink, but I'm just going to give it a little bit of dimension so that when I put it up against the white and the pink, you can see the outline of it. So doesn't that look better? Now you can see it. A little more right there. And sponging the edges of something is just a quick way to make it pop a little bit. So I'm going to put this right here. Now I'm going to add one more thing to it. I think I'm going to just run a ribbon right behind that. So let me pull out my ribbon case here and see what I have in Blushing Bride. I have that one there. This is what happens when I make a card. I thought it was going to be a lot like this. I had an idea in my head of what changes I wanted to make, but then they don't come to fruition until I'm actually making it. So I'm going to add a little bit of adhesive here. Cut this. Don't want to make a bow. I think I just I think just the strip is going to be nice. This right here, and then I think I'm going to pop that up with some dimensionals. Put a couple dimensionals on this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to pop this up right here. I wish I could see more of that leaf there. Or maybe I'll bring it down a little more here so that I can see the more of the leaf. All right. And I'm going to add one final touch that I'm thinking of, again, as I am sitting here putting it together. I'm going to put a couple pearls. Bring in... Okay, I decided to put some pearls on this to kind of give it a more delicate look. So there we have it. And I think she'll like that, and I think it might help her get through these first trying days. So there's the card. It started out with this as inspiration, a little bit of a change with the different colors and embossing on it, and it has a completely different look. So if you have any questions at all about this project or any of the products I've used, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. Like this stamp set, which is called You've Got This. It is on the retiring list. It'll be retired at the end of May. It is guaranteed available through May 25th, and after that, it is while supplies last only. Thanks so much. Have a great day. I'll catch you back here later. Bye-bye.